ಮಾಡಲಮ್ಮ ಈ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟು ಬಟ್
Pleasure to have you all. And this was one of our dreams to have Keshav sir talking about the paintings with which we wake up every day. Actually, almost I am not going to stand between his talk and over to you, sir. Sir, I would like to do an interactive session. So there's another mic there. So if you have a question, we can pass around the mic.
Feel free to ask questions. Again, to reaffirm, it is his Aradhana day, and I take his blessings and begin the show. Mr. Vinayaka, this is a one-line. So each drawing has unique dimension. This is drawn in a single line. It's a multimedia. So there's a lot of media used, acrylics, watercolors, and charcoal. So it is drawn in a single line. Vinayaka in a single line. This again the Balvach. It's a small oil canvas painting. Next. This is again Tirupati Srinivasa. As you know, as you can see, but this was a sort of experiment where in printing we use the 4-color system, CMYK. So I tried it literally using just the 4 colors of CMYK and made this 4-color painting. It's an experiment. Yeah, this is the beginning of the Mahabharata. When Vinayaka and Vyasa each have a condition that he shouldn't stop while writing the Mahabharata, and he says, Vyasa says, I will not stop, but you should understand before you write the sentence. So that's how each one, there was a challenge at each sentence, and the Sutradhari, which is Krishna, looks from behind. The circle is representative of the Mahabharata. See, this is in Indian visuals, we have a lot of symbolism. Each symbol means something. In fact, my entry into Indian art began as a study of symbols. Actually, every thing is symbol. For example, you can see he is sitting on a kurma plate that is called, it is for stability. So people, even now in Kerala, you can see people using this kurma like as they say. The Acharya blessing. This kind of blessing is given to very rarest of rare cases when he places the foot on his disciple's head. This was supposed to be given by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa to Swami Vivekananda. That is why I have given this. And you can see the Hamsa and behind. This is an acrylic work. And this is the man who inspired me into Bhagavatam. Shri Keshav Maharaj, who passed away recently, is renowned as the 5th Jagat Guru after Ramanujacharya. And his discourses, I have not met him, but his discourses on TV have so much. I recorded all his speeches on Bhagavatam. And he put the interest in Krishna into me like nobody else did. Actually, I was more of a Rama man than Krishna, but he taught me what Krishna was, and he told me the impact and significance of Krishna, and that is how I began this entry into the Krishna series. So I owe it all to these things. These are my early works, say about 17, 18 years old when I was into Ravi Verma. I was in inspired by Ravi Verma first because he was my first guru when I was hardly 10 or 15 years old. I went to the Mysore Jagannath Palace and Jaya Chamarajendra Art Gallery where you can see his wonderful originals. Inspired by that, I used to dream, say one day I should do such big works. They were quite huge. It was about 10 feet by that kind of thing. And this is just a pencil sketch. I began like that. Next one.
Sir, next.
This is again Sita Kalyanam, the Dhanurbhagam, Rama. Again a Ravi Verma piece, just a pencil sketch. Just to show how the practice of drawing is always there and the interest in mythology has made a very great impact. In fact, we come from a very orthodox family and our atmosphere always surrounded by Ekadashi bhajans, Margari, Vidi bhajans, and we had Saptahams in our home. And like this, the environment was always, in fact, when we had exams, it was a disturbance, this kind of things. But then, unconsciously, it made an impact in on the subconscious mind, maybe, so that I came back to Krishna after a long time. Next one. Again, this is Ravi Verma, inspired by Ravi Verma. This is that Krishna goes as ambassador to Duryodhana's place. That was Ravi Verma's original painting, which I have converted it as Ravana and Hanuman. These are all the dress and all, the environment and all is Ravi Verma. Only the characters have been changed to suit that. Even at that time I was not into Krishna, I was more into Rama, Ramayana and that kind of thing. So I changed this accordingly. Again, Ganesha, parenting. Again, see these are simplifications of the Ganesha. Ganesha and Krishna are the only characters which allow you more of liberty. It gives you scope for experimentation and so lovable characters. So they are my favorites. Again, I started off practicing Indian art with miniatures from Pahadi painting, this camera paintings as they call it. This is again the kind of detailing which they go in small format is amazing. The amount of details. So those I just copied them and learned the kind of symmetry and the dynamism of a movement. And all that I've learned from camera painting. This is Shiva, the Ganga Dhara. You can see the Ganga coming down from there. It's experimental. It is Shiva's Vahana, the bull, and Ganga's Vahana is the crocodile. So that's how I put it in both of these lines. Composed with the dance of Shiva style, because the dance of Shiva is still considered one of the classic epic sculptures in Indian art, cannot be surpassed until now, and will not be in my future, because so many commentators on Indian art have written about the dance of Shiva, Ananda Kumara Swami, Stella Kramrish. Unfortunately, none from our country except perhaps Shiva Murthy, who has done a very good research. Classmate of Esraj himself, who was also my guru. So he was telling me, and I told that your style matches that of Ajanta and all. Then I mentioned about Shivram Murthy's book and all. He said Shivram Murthy was my classmate. We used to go to the art school together, and so that's and that's when I began Indian art. Earliest inspiration, when I was hardly 10 or 12 years old, my father used to read a Ramayana book with Garuda, who were both cousins according to the novel. And Garuda signifies the Vedas, and Ananta is the snake. Ananta is infinity itself, infinity given form, and that's when. And you can see that in terms of management, also this sitting in a snake, because there is a flow underneath always. And when Vishnu sits on the snake, actually the snake curves, it goes along with the flow. And Vishnu does not sit statically on that. Even if he is in his yoga nidra, he keeps moving, adjusting to the coils of the Ananta. So it's a beautiful, such a beautiful, it's so dramatic. So that's the beauty of this Vishnu and Ananta. That is the Vishnu, the Purusha Sukta mentions this. This again, along with that, the Lakshmi. And Lakshmi in our Indian art is a symbol of prosperity. It is not God, or it is something like in the US we have a symbol of liberty and we're holding a torch. Like that, for prosperity, our symbol is Lakshmi. And for every economy, a good economy is always measured by the monsoon it has. This, again, Lakshmi is represented by water as a symbol, and the Gaja Lakshmi, which we know, is those elephants are represented as Gajas, and this Khanda, Parjanya as they call it, that turns and it becomes grain. That rotation takes place. This is the earth symbolized as the cow, and this circle ensures prosperity. The thunderbolt, rain, grain, and again the water, the entire system is maintained by this circulation of forces. That's this is one of my favorites, Narada, who's been. In fact, I've always wondered who Narada was. He is a friend of everybody, such a charming character. He goes to every place, the Asuras and Devas, he talks to everyone. I really wondered who this man was. I asked there was a quest knowing who this Narada was. I asked the Sanskrit scholar when there was a pravachanam on the Bhagavatam. I asked Narada, who is Narada? Is he a person or a concept? Then he said, the root of Narada is Naram Dadaditi Narada. That is one who gives you sane advice when you are calm and when you can think on your own, and who gives you jnana. He is Narada. So he is there even in Asuras, Asura Balakas. He is the teacher for Dhruva, he is the teacher for Prahlada, and for everywhere the turn comes only when Narada comes in. Because that is where the real, that is when Indra was about to kill Hiranyakashipu's wife, Narada stops him. See, when you are in utmost, what do you call, anger, you want to take vengeance, you want to kill that by the root, then Narada stops you. So that is the greatness. He's always singing Narayana and Narayana, because that is the ultimate. That is where you have to reach. He sets you a goal. And music. See, another thing is the combination of music. It is that character which it is always music and jnana, they go together. It is spiritual, not religious. I think that's a good expression. These are some of the paintings which I have done on Krishna. This is comes in the first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is called the Bhishma Stuti, where Bhishma praises Lord Krishna. But here, in Bhishma Stuti, there is a very significant two shlokas. In the Mahabharata, as you know, Bhishma says he vows that he will make Krishna take up arms, knowing fully well that Krishna has already vowed that he will not take up any arms. So it is a counter. He says, although you have vowed, I will make you take up arms, he says. In the Mahabharata, when there is a fight on between Arjuna and Bhishma, there came a certain time when Bhishma's foes were almost close to killing Arjuna. So for Krishna, it is he has to protect Arjuna for fighting more battles. So what he does to protect Arjuna, he comes down, drops from the chariot, takes up the wheel of the chariot line, and then he goes with anger against Bhishma. Then actually he says, watercolor, just mix it and just move it around. Actually there is no sketch. You'll have to move the liquid around so that it forms a shape. So that there is actually a solid blob of water mixed with pigments, drop it on the, and then just move it around to make these images. So it's a very, you have to control the fluidity of the water and not allow it to dry either. So it's a very tricky thing. These are all washed out later. These designs and all are, you take it out, remove the paint later. According to the story of this is, Brahma does not believe that Krishna is the Lord, and he hides the cowbirds and all in a cave almost for a year. But Krishna just unperturbed, what he does is, he takes the form of every cowbird, every calf, every every stick, every horn which he blows was in the same way, in the same manner, and he goes back to the respective houses. So this happened for 1 full year until Brahma realizes his falling and falls at Krishna's feet. This was the time when Krishna was having his feast. Another thing also, you can see the cows here, and for songs you have to use the symbols again. This is the birds, because they sing a lullaby when they put this child to sleep, and this rocking motion, because the lap is being rocked when you put them to sleep, and the baby holding the necklace, which usually you will see holds the necklace in hand. It's almost sleepy kind of state. And there is another Swami Deshika's interesting observation. Here, the conch is Yashoda feeds Krishna with a conch. When he feeds the milk from the other side, he is the baby. But when Krishna's theme, which I am again repeating again and again, and here in the ground, it is, I think the details in this next. Yeah. See, the gopis are around the head. See, embrace. In this Dhyana Shloka, Kasturi Tilakam Lalata Palake, Pakshastale Kaustum, and all that. And they said, Gopastri Pariveshtito, Vijayate Gopala Chudamani. Chuda means on top of the head. See, they occupy the pride of position. Krishna cannot give them more, because Krishna has this, he's so graceful, and his grace personified, kindness and graciousness personified. For him, Putana and Yashoda are both equal. Both Putana also will be given the Goloka, Gopis will also be Goloka. It seems they've asked him. See, we are also devoting our entire time to complete surrender, whereas Putana came for a moment, and her intention was to kill you, but still you have given them the same position. What else can you give us extra? I mean, we demand more. They said, I will always be indebted to you. That's all I can do. Krishna says. So Krishna's ultimate position is in that Gopastri Pariveshti. Veshti is tightly hugging. Even we call this Veshti, which we say. This is the root of the word. There is the details of that, the Tulasi Mala, details of the face. It's a 4 foot by 6 foot. here we come to the general contemporary mood where I call this the keyboard Krishna. It is a, we have this keyboard here just to symbolize music. And again, the waves also, it's a music wave, we call it the Sangeeta Lahari, always music, always around. Again, Hare Krishna, Balakrishna, and this is the Srinivasa, this Chaturbhuja. Next one. And this always went into the step. He tries to find out his origins, but he couldn't do it. But it is only at this Trivikrama Avtara where the legs cross so many spheres, ionosphere, stratosphere, or whatever. Then it reaches the Brahmaloka. It is then he performs this Pada Puja. And here this four swans represent the Vedas. And there is a big distance. I don't know if they happen in a single event, but there is a big distance between here and here, where Shiva takes it on his head. And you can see here, is there a TV? No. Please. Yeah. In this you can see the growth of Vamana. Here this has been inspired by Swami Deshika's Gopal Delicious Stuti, where he says when he took the form of the galaxy and the stars were like a vidana, somewhat like a balcony on his head. When he goes further, it becomes his necklace, and it still goes further, it becomes his Udyana, girl, and then again it becomes an anklet. So this is the thought. It was in just two lines, and the impact or the grandeur of it cannot be envisioned. Such kind of imagination these people have, and I am just bringing them into visuals. Yes, it is none of my idea. It is just to bring what these people have seen in early days. Such ideas they had. Yeah, and one more point. See, again, when he comes as a brahmachari, he uses this deer skin to cover his Shrikamstigala. He's understood. This is again inspired by a Malayalam song, Harini Lahari by Yeshudas, one of the songs, the most beautiful songs inspired by that. That's why he used this greenish. This is again inspired by Annargudi Rajagopal. Usually that grandeur of this dance is the most beautiful and absolute beauty. And there is a slight difference in that. Usually in the Tribhanga posture you have, it is always in the side. But in Annargudi there is a tilt backward. So we will have to be prepared. Some paper, something where you can note down. So my notings are always in lines. I don't write down the idea, the initial thought process, I write it down. And later you elaborate it. Or even add or usually the original lines are always the best. The spontaneity is always very, very valuable. We cannot come back to the same lines later. It cannot be read or traced. It is something like sitting on a kacheri and singing. One it comes in your mind. If there is something wrong, yes, it's wrong. You can't erase it, It's something like that. It's good, you can't repeat it. Same like that. But usually these, I make it a point to draw at least something a day. So there is sometimes there may be ton of once a day. Sometimes there may be nothing will be there.
I have a small question.
Yes, please.
Previous one. See, the child Krishna, is it deliberate that the proportions are not absolutely right? Say the child is deliberate or it's
See, sometimes the lines are softened. See, if you have to draw the actual lines, for example, it may go still inward here. If actual anatomy is followed, we actually simplify the lines to make it is between the difference between prose and poetry. We don't follow the academic realism of the Western art. We are basically Oriental. We have the Oriental approach, which from Iraq, Iran onwards to Cambodia, Angkor Wat, it's the same. There is only Eastern art and Western art. Western art is more to do with real classic composition, classic realism as they call it. Whereas the Oriental system always idealism. We don't
Exaggeration.
No exaggeration. It is idealism. That is, you don't go by actual anatomy. You go by what the ideal is. Because there may be different kinds of persons. So each person is given a proportion. A king should be this much land, a minister should be this much of land. Whatever is left out, we learn from Chitra Sutra or the other arts. In Indian art, actually, no art is considered isolated. So each person will have to be knowing everything about the art as a whole, because he needs to have rhythm for music and dance for body language and architecture. So all this form part of a whole. That is, an artist not isolated from his own art. So actually we have to look at it. So a person in art will have to know a little bit, at least admire music, and know something about the dance or the mudras for communication. So it is all interlinked. Painting doesn't stand alone. So that's what I'm trying to do. And here, and always, if it's not that we can't break rules, that is, you have to know the rule before you actually break it. So that is also there.
So explicitly inspired by Egyptian motifs.
Yeah, exactly. So another thing I was coming to that, the Egyptian illustrations, the drawings and all, it is very, very related to our, they don't go again as like we do. They also don't go for academic realism. They go for idealism. Because they always go for tall, statured, and it will always be perfect, standing straight. And they have angles. I don't know how far it's allowed. And just go ahead. Next one. This again in the Kerala music style, the Panchavarnam as they call it. Here there is a lot of see these old grips and all have been taken from the pillar sculptures. So now these demonstrated in the sculptures in Belur, Halagid, or in Guruvayur or any other place. You see these are standard. That is, they come like an animation. First he will how to put him down, and then how to hold him tight so that it goes across so many legs inside, and then he holds it here also. It is like he's pinning him down. That is one thing. And then here, instead of showing violence, I've used a different symbolism. This is actually the intestines, very gruesome. But then you use a different metaphor so that it doesn't appear so violent. Here you see Garuda here, Prahlada here. These have been added later. Even at that moment, he has his place on his body. So this is the Panchavarnam, the red, green. There is no blues, yellow, white, and black. This is again another this drawing. these extra special days, you are inspired by songs or so many things. So this drawing doesn't take long, say 15 minutes, 20 minutes every day. Inspiration stays on. This Rama and the Hanuman there in this form. See the table. So even while drawing this, you're dabbling in abstraction. See all this background and all, you're dealing with abstraction because you can't leave it plain. So it also includes abstraction. See, in today's world, there is a lot of abstraction around. Even in music, we have this alapana, which is an abstraction. For me, this background is abstraction. But it has to go in along with the raga, the main raga. So that is broadly follows the same musical principle. Like the colors, we have the ragas, and you have rhythm there for talas. For example, it follows a certain rhythm there, so that the symmetry and all that comes to part of it, and the balance overall. So next, this is that squill.
Just a small question, the previous one.
Yes.
The feet you're showing in this chin, what is the
Yes.
significance of that?
Because it's a monkey, it has this, the feet also are like hands. It is only for the monkeys, we can't do that. Because his other extend the limits. Actually, the bow stands for Viveka and Buddhi.
Say about the Buddha.
This bow. That is it is called Upanayana, that is the second eye. Upanayana is the second eye. And that is your Viveka. Actually, these are all again symbols. Like when he carries his bow always, it doesn't make sense because there are times when in Ramayana when Lakshmana carried all his arms. Because they were totally renounced everything, and when they went to the forest, they have not taken any personal belongings, but all the armory was there. See, the armory was a truckload. It was not very small, just a bow and arrow. It was an armory full decked with gems, gold, everything was there. Sita was also decked with jewelry and all, everything was there. So it was very heavy equipment he was carrying. So that it is all mentioned in the Ramayana. But actually the idea is
Saranagati poster, is it having any special significance? Like, is it closely resembling the fighter position, which is ultimate surrender, not ultimate?
yeah, when you close, yes.
So the fighters, it is not having any, so it is just depending on something else, maybe the others.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you why that happens. See, when you're seeing a great person, for example, when you're seeing Paramacharya, and let me take it very physically, when you're seeing a person like Paramacharya, what happens to you? That is, you crumble down to nothing. How do you represent that? You close yourself to the maximum. That's exactly what you're saying of fetal position. Still further, if I can go further than that, I will. Let me try. So, it is that. It is like you become nothing. You're there, but you become nothing. So that is the idea of surrender. So that is, and Ramayana, the essence of Ramayana is Sharanagati. I'll tell you the next thing. Again, I'm coming to the symbolism of Ramayana actually. This is Rama, Lakshmana, Sugriva and Hanuman. See, I'm juxtaposing. Sugriva is the doubting Thomas, the Jivatma, who always doubts. He wants proof. I want proof that you are there. I want proof. See, the seven shala vrikshas, you have to cut them for me. And dundubi, you throw. Then he still casts especially doubts. But Hanuman doesn't do that. He just falls. He trusts and he falls. And look what he can do. Whereas Sugriva can do nothing without Hanuman. See, Hanuman is the mind. So these are all the symbols in the Ramayanas, and I've just put them again. This again, I'll have to come to the music season. This was done during live performance, and Ni Padamule Gati Namiti, Sri Ramakrishna, there is a song. This. And you listen to the lyrics and you know that it is this bhava that is more than enough. And as the song played, you sketch this, because I have never altered it after I did it. So it is, I call it the Kriti drawings, which I did during last season. This is one of them. There's again dancing. And this is a sketch for the Srimad Bhagavata series, where I have only one phrase in Ramayana. So what do you do in one complete picture? I have to bring Ramayana. So the main theme is surrender. This is Lakshmana, Shatrughna holding the thing. This is Bharata with that Palaka. So this is Ramayana in total. And of course Sita. Next one. Yeah. And you can see him completely falling and surrendering. And then you can see how it begins. See, Rama gives him the Angudiyakam, that is a symbol for Sita. And then Jambavan. Jambavan is again a symbol for reminiscences. I mean, you should recall your what you can do. So that Jambavan helps in that way. And then he crosses the ocean, and then there's Surasa and all those Lankinis. He goes, surges, depression, then he goes to the Ashokavana, Ravana comes. This is the Trijada Swapna. And then he meets Sita when the Rakshasis are sleeping. She gives the Chudamani. Then Ashokavana comes up. And then he is captured by Indrajit. He advises Ravana, Lanka Dahanam, comes back to Sita, ensures she is safe, gets back to Rama. This is in But what exactly is the greatness about this surrenders? Vishnu and see this time, this is when he has a pradakshinam around Rama. Ravana's each head comes falling down. So that is how it does. I think that's it. Yeah, this is the Gita. I call this the series of dialogues with Arjuna. And this is one of my favorite. And this particular posture was shown by Swami Omkarananda. This posture has been described in this shloka here. It is being recited even in our Partsavi temple here. He says the Gita was uttered in this manner, that he was holding the horse, turning around, keeping one foot on his seat, and in a Chinmudra he uttered the Gita. This was the posture. And there is another point I would like to make in this context is what I learned from Swami Vivekananda. There is, you don't go in need of books, they come to you, the right kind of books. So I don't do meticulous reading and all that, they come to me, and even at a random browsing, you get the points you need. This was at random reading of that book. It was I got it for this triplicate platform, one of the complete works, volume 7, if I remember right. In that Swamiji, one person comes and tells Swamiji that this is the Bhagavad Gita I have painted. Please tell me your opinion on this. Swamiji looks at that and gives it back to him. He didn't say yes, good, or he didn't say anything. So that artist felt offended. He said, Swamiji, at least you tell me the mistakes. You please don't ignore it. And he says, I will tell you what points are there. Will you be able to take it in the right manner, spirit? He says. And then he lines up all that an artist has to do and what he should not do. The first point is authenticity. The chariot was wrong. It has to be climbed from behind. So he has shown the chariot as having an entrance in between the two wheels, which is wrong. And that is one part. The second part is, this is so static. Where is the drama? Does it represent what the Gita says? That's what he asks. The artist didn't know, because he knew only how to paint, but he didn't know what to express. He said the artist should be knowledgeable, he should go and find out what you're trying to say. And there should be drama in the picture. He says he is holding the reins. When he holds the reins, the horses jump up. The horses represent the indriyas, they should be pulsing. The eyes should be coming out, the nerves should be throbbing, they should be full of power in it. And that power should not be visible in Krishna's face. That is the idea of Gita. And is that if you can bring out that much, you have communicated to the viewer. This is the essence. And Arjuna, of course, is totally depressed. And that is the picture of Gita you should be showing. And that is how my entrance or beginning to illustrate. Because Gita, usually the pictures are so monotonous that you get boring with that kind of thing. He said, make it dramatic, otherwise people don't see your pictures.
4 heads to the houses are shown, isn't it?
Yeah. Those are the Indriyas. No, it is the Indriyas.
Panchendriya.
Panchendriyas. It is only a symbol, that is different colors. It starts from the blue, which is the Tamogunam, then Rajogunam and Sattvagunam. It is something like the Vibhya, the pendulum of gunas, which always you have to make them in equilibrium. And at the center of it is the green color. That is why all the heroes, they are colored green in the Malayali Kathakali dramas and all. Because they use the green, because the green is this color which is in the center of when the pendulum stops in between, it is the green color.
The question was, there are Panchendriyas, why only 4 heads are shown?
I think it is only a symbol. You can't, there are only 4 horses.
4?
There are only 4 horses. If I have to show the horses in, see, I have only to make an attempt to communicate the essence of what is being shown. If I have to illustrate what exactly is there, we are losing the point. This again, when you don't need things, remove them. What is not necessary, just communicate. So here there is no chariot, no reins. No, it is the same picture where you simplify further. And it's more the movements are more poetic than dramatic. So the lines have been smooth and soft. That is Hanuman, the flag, the underline. Everything is there, but you remove whatever is not necessary. This is the Chana, the Mata, the Udili Krishna, it is called. And there is a shloka in the Gita Mahatmya which says, Sarvopanishado Gavo Yogda Gopalanandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhakta with Gitam Pradam Mahat. That is, these Upanishads in the form of cows. Yogda Gopalan, Krishna is he milks the cow. He gives you the milk. But the point is, he doesn't stop with the milk. He makes us chant. It is we who have to take that effort and give him the essence, which is the jnana or bhakti, whatever you call it. Both are the same actually. So that Navanitam is nothing but bhakti. That is what he needs. That is what he wants. He gives you Upanishads. He wants that. The rest of all is. And another is Arjuna and Krishna. Krishna says, I want to see your Vibhuti Yoga, that is your magnificent form, the cosmic form. So Krishna says, you have materialized, you cannot see with those eyes, it cannot stand. So Divyam Dadami Te Chakshu, he says, I give you divine eyes. Because seeing the Vishwarupam is within, not outside. So that's what he says. He says, I give you divine eyes for you to see my form. And then he sees it. Great cosmic. And this is Bhagavad Gita as in Kathakali.
It's taking a few seconds for us to show it in the webcast, that's why it's delayed.
In another symbol of Arjuna, where it is only thing, Krishna as a symbol. Only arrow in the quiver is Krishna. This dialogues with Arjuna series taken into different visuals. So these are all experiments. I don't know how far they apply or they conform with the things mentioned in the Gita, but I take liberties to present my view, what it would have been. So this is Arjuna here. So he helps Arjuna to see himself. He goes maximum, he fixes him, gives him all the encouragement he needs, and he dispels ignorance. So that is what the 18 chapters. And at last he asks, Ashtaste Ajnam. If the doubts being cleared, he asks. It's the same dialogues with Arjuna. These are all notings, I would say, not full-fledged paintings. These are notings, and it's a noting of ideas as they come. So they don't have any, I don't start with an idea, it just comes. Same. Because even in the Mahabharata again, there is a Krishna chooses Arjuna to talk, because Yudhishthira, they all Bhima, he leaves the others, because he Manayeva Indriyana, that is the mind is the king of Indriyas, mind. So he chooses the mind. That is why he chooses Arjuna to give his speech. He doesn't choose Yudhishthira or Bhima or Nakula Sahadeva. He didn't choose all of them. He chooses Arjuna. And why he chooses that? That's the question. This is Gita again, but in a single line. This entire thing in a single line. Starts and ends in the same place.
Where do you start?
You can start from anywhere. I started from here.
Next one.
Krishna's Leelas. This particular thing is the Govardhana is a very, very significant. In Krishna Leela, there are three important events. One is Govardhana, second is Kali Randha, and the other thing is the Gita, of course. These three are very important in Krishna Leela. This again is a single line drawing in acrylic, colored paper in acrylic. So different versions. This is a very small size, lesser than A4, very small size, small format. And this is a 3x4 acrylic on canvas. Again the Govardhana. This is also again in the sumo style, the Japanese sumo. This is a French way coin. So you use only other things.
So what inspired this?
It's a Japanese the style of simplicity. They are always very simple in whatever, even in their environment and in their even in fighting, or they are so religious about it. Even in sumo wrestling, you see they respect one piece to the other. You have to see it, read it. They have no hatred of it. It is an art form. So you have learned a lot from it.
It's just one thing. He said something like that visual and gets translated. Like we were just talking, it's like Michelangelo has a picture and a sculpture, and when he sees the stone, and he removes the stone to make that sculpture.
Yes, yes.
So I was wondering if it's like that, you have a visual in the head and it gets translated.
Sometimes when you are going you're going for an idea, you have to go to in mind, then the visual is there. But when it's a single line drawing, I really don't know. It happens. You start, you don't know where it goes. So there are two different things. When you start with the visual, it is Govardhana, Giridhari, things fall into place. The colors, everything, they fall into place. And in some cases, like for example, the Kriti drawings which you draw, you start drawing Rama, you don't know what is going to happen next. It's all, it happens. I really don't know. One leads to the other, let me put it that way.
But can I, in sort of, have the body extended, in the sense that, as an artist, do you think that this always rewarding for the viewer to complete the painting in this way? Because I saw your online abstract of Vishnu, and there is Arjuna who is just looking upwards. There is no Krishna. But the viewer knows that there is a Krishna, or there is a Vishnu, the God there. And he goes with that impression in his mind. So the painting is completed in his mind.
In his mind, yes. Now, actually, I will relate this to dance. Here in animation, we call the pencil. You're acting pencil. In dance, I will put it like this: you're dancing with your pencil, with your pen. Now, in dance, the experience is very personal. The audience is incidental. I mean, the audience happen to be there, whereas the experience is very, very personal. These are all very, very personal experiences which I share with everyone. So it is not that I am doing for an audience. I am not doing this to impress somebody. It is a very, very personal experience which I am sharing with you all. It is something like that. It is a kind of dance where you do it without any conscience of people watching you. Absolutely nothing. It is between you and you're talking to yourself. So the audience is incident. It is something like that. When you're going and you're feeling something which is much higher, and it is only that which matters. And reward. I don't need any extra reward for this. And when I share it, the reward is double.
Like Kapil Ram singing.
Yeah. And here is a very, very good example of that. I listened once to Oleti Venkateshwar. I still, maybe that was about 20 years back in the academy, not once he opened his eyes. Not once, no drama, nothing, only the heavenly music. I never came out of that experience afterwards. It is something like that. This again, Govardhana. Govardhana, actually, there are two things. One is, it is the argument against worshipping Indra, who they cannot see. And the argument is on. And second is, the entire village believes in an 8-year-old kid and are convinced. Imagine, when we say surrender, he says, trust me. What happens in Govardhana is, when he lifts it over his head, it is all symbols. Don't ever take it literally. Now, imagine if it's literal. A person is lifting the entire mountain with his little finger. It is one finger. It could even sort of fall. So that is what everybody has in mind. Some cowards, they put sticks to make it stand, have a balance at least. The thing is, you trust me and come in. It will not fall. You trust me. You are seeing, you are using your brains to see that this mountain will fall, because it is not secure. It is not physically, it is impossible. He says, trust me. See, that is the entire concept. See, you trust me and come inside. I say. See, these are events, and that is, and here it is like I'm using the English language. You say pour cold water or somebody. He's now Indra showers rain. Krishna pours cold water over it. It is a different take on it. And there in Govardhana, he is also the Govardhana. He assumes the form of Govardhana. He is there as a person over the Govardhana mountain, and he also lifts it up. So he says, everything I am here for you. Anything, immovable, movable, everything, I am everything. He proves himself, but people don't believe. So again, the wash, this is using the Chinese brush. So I use different techniques. Indra pours rain, and then he knew that he is not and he surrenders. And this Airavatam here, it is all this water bodies, the lakes and rivers and all. Because the Indra represents the water aspect. Here combine two elements in the Krishna Leela. One is Indra and one is Brahma. Both surrender to the Lord. In a different form. It's in Meera. Meera, who always focused on Moreto, Giridhara, Gopala was her favorite. So Meera always inspires. That is Meera. This is another format works. A4 size. Small works. Okay, we come to after the Govardhana. There is a sequence called as Govinda Pattabhisheka, where Kamadhenu goes and showers milk over Krishna and anoints him as Govinda. The name Govinda was given by Kamadhenu. That is what the Bhagavatam says. And this is another format where the Kamadhenu goes up and showers milk. This is a close-up of it. After that, I was telling you about the prosperity, prosperity. Then who is Krishna? We have this in the Vedas, Anandeti Brahma. Ananda is Brahma. Brahman, the root, the eternal source, is Ananda. So, how can you define Ananda? It is ecstasy, a prolonged ecstasy. What we have feeling, we have gone through that, but in small fractions. We come across a very nice feeling. It lasts for a second, a fraction of a second, but disappears. If that ecstasy has, how will you define it? Krishna defines it. That is why they call it Anandeti Brahma. That is the root. Krishna is Ananda. It is not like there is Ananda as Krishna. It is Ananda which is Krishna. That is, it is both. You can't remove one from the other. Bhagar, or something. You can't remove the word and meaning from each other. It is the same. Again, different formats. So these ecstasy, you can see only in dance. It is the body language. When you see them perform Krishna Lila, you can see these dancers going and jumping up. Actually they want to remain in the air. Because of gravity they fall down. But actually what their idea is to go up in the air and stay there. So that is Ananda, that is ecstasy. So I don't know how better I can say that. This is again Govinda Prakash. Again Govinda Prakash with this droplets of these are some, as I told you, these notings which I did. Just begin this both Gajendra Moksha, Gajendra and the crocodile, both. Actually, this is taken from a temple sculpture, somewhere in another temple, I think. But it was not exactly the same. But the idea, I just remembered and there could be some differences. Parallel lines. These are smaller works, smaller than A4. So these are what I do daily as a practice. You start with nothing at all. That is again the ecstatic movement. make Krishna universe. He's already is, but he is stuck with his traditional dresses and in fact, Guruji Vincent used to say, okay, if Krishna comes now, how will you be dressed? In Bermudas or jeans? Why not? There is nothing wrong. He never bothered. What you like, you want to make him wear it. You say, I want to make him wear the Kohinoor. You don't go and bring the Kohinoor, wear it with your mind. Wear it, whatever you want, the greatest on earth. Mind it yourself, bring it to him, wear it. He says, it is all in the mind. Never go for structured. There's nothing limited. He can be Spanish, he can be Chinese, he can be Mexican. Because there are, I couldn't search, the archives are so much, I have not digitized most of them. I've got a complete, Mao like Krishna, with this, that big Chinese with the big hat and all. So this is very academic, which is more illustrative. There are two things. One is the illustrative type, this where you don't go for lines. Sometimes the lines take predominance, and there the art is more predominant and the design is more predominant. Here, the bhava is more predominant, you relax. So it is a slight of give and take here and there. So here again, this is in sculpture and dance and everything, this pendulum, the center of gravity, that is very important even for Nataraja. Here he stands in this one, so the entire thing is balanced on his toe. So it is only what do you call it, an adjustment, or I don't know how. I start there, I have to make him stand. He will stand. This rasa. This is the Rukmini Karanam. Some line drawings as illustration for the Bhagavatam. Stop it, it gets boring. This is the Matsyavada. How he comes out from the ground, that is Satyavrata, as they call it. Mohini avatar. See, this Bhagavata is another area where symbols are given predominance. Like both devas and asuras are within us. So when he gives the amrita to the devas and deprives them, commentators who view it in a different way, as those are different, these are different. It is not that. Your good, saner and wise elements should be encouraged, and your asuric elements encouraged, and they have to be thrown out. They will always be there, but you shouldn't give the amrita to them. So it is that which we talk about, rather than two people. They are not two people. In fact, there are commentators on Nrsimha Avatara who say both Hiranyakashipu and Prahlada, we ourselves are both. So at a different level, we have to understand that we as Narasimha should remove ignorance to bring out the Prahlada in us. So that is the theme, and that's what the Bhagavata says. Because it becomes controversial when you relate them to people. It is conscious to yield to the pressures of next one. This is the Shalva Yudham. These are sketches for the Sutram in Chitra Sutra. It should always have Lakshmi in it. So, and another thing is Varaha stands for, is a Yajnavarahamurti. It stands for tripti, satisfaction, contentment. That is Varaha. That is why even in Tirupati, it is a Varaha Kshetra. Only after you go and pray to Varaha, you have to go and pray to Srinivasa, who is the god of riches. First you be content and then you go for the riches. See, that is the idea, the concept behind that is so noble that we have to understand. See, they are not just stories, that's what I am coming to say. It is practicable and it will give you sane advice at the right moment, provided you keep repeating and think about it all the time. They are trying to tell you something, we have to understand. This is Yayati again. The next controversial thing is Krishna's ancestor, Yayati, who actually was cursed by Shukracharya to get old age, and he says as a redemption he asks, and Shukracharya says, one of your sons, if he gives his youth, you can take over his youth from him. And so first two sons they refuse, and only he agrees, and that is when they exchange. That is, Yayati takes over the youth and old age comes back. And at a later date they switch again. The idea is Yayati's constant greed or the ambition to enjoy everything on earth. You're getting old, you don't understand that. So you're always after pleasures of the earth, then you should understand what you are and what you are on for this earth. So that is this. Yayati is a very, very significant story in the Bhagavata. And since Krishna belongs to the ancestry, he never can become king. So Krishna can never become king. He is the son of the first of the ancestors who refused to give his youth to Yayati. This is Yayati, the Sharmishta and Devyani. This is Shukracharya's daughter, Devyani. And he becomes old, Yayati becomes old. So that is the stories for the Bhagavata illustrations. This is a bamboo mat, called the yoga mat. So 6 by 3 and acrylic bamboo mat. The Kaliya Mardana. This is a long brushes where this is Mithila style Kaliya Mardana. So many different styles.
Previous slide. Here I observe an interesting shade rendition. Like you have given lighter, more brightness towards that end of the corner, that area.
Here.
Yeah. So is it while painting, is it a conscious effort or?
This,
because it can also mean it's happening inside the ocean. I get the illusion when I see this. I get the idea. That's why I know. When I see this, and the darkness and the light means something to me in this painting.
So I wanted to know if it was your intention or is this my interpretation that I'm finding it right?
No, the light and all is actually it goes through so many layers. And another thing, the fault may be in photographing it.
Okay. Okay.
So I take it in picture, and it's not professionally photographed.
No, but it actually gives the whole this art form a new
Yeah.
dimension, the lighting.
Yeah, this light I concentrated only on this area.
Right.
So actually it was colored dark, and colors were removed later. See, actually it is a negative form. I first applied the colors. It was green totally, and this red was painted over the green and then removed. I mean, it goes through so many layers.
Okay.
So this light, and it may be a result of that layering.
Thank you, sir.
Or maybe it was not washed properly on that day. This is again the Chinese brush. Apparently the brushes, you have to be very precise when you're drawing Chinese. It's one time, no repairs.
Bamboo as a drawing.
The bamboo brush you mean? Or
Bamboo drawing. You showed a
bamboo drawing. See, bamboo drawings are done on rice sheet,
Mat.
rice paper. No, the mat is different. That is not bamboo mat. It is some other mat. It is some straw mat. It is not bamboo mat. Bamboo mat I have on separate Chinese. The Chinese make bamboo mats. They are very very fine actually. I am not used to that. This again oil on canvas, 30 by 40. It is again you build up from the reverse, from the dark to the light. You scrape out what is not necessary when the oil is still wet, and then after it is dry, go for separate layers again. So this is done in different textures. This again Kalia. Experimented with Kalia. Kalia Govardhana is very very significant. It tells you a lot. So different versions. Again another Kalia, design oriented.
So this is Kali. So the Kaliya Mardana is the earlier version, and the Nardanam it became a later.
Both
Still.
actually how in Bhagavatam it is a very most dramatic of all the episodes. See very cleverly what Krishna does. Balarama is Ananta. He is a serpent by nature. So he does not bring Balarama to that episode. He makes him stay back in Gokula, and he comes alone. So he doesn't want his own what do you call class to be beaten. So he does not bring Balarama there. And see how he goes there. He climbs up a big tree. He slaps on his shoulders, and it's like some young boys do know, and then these farms and all you see, they jump up just like that, and like childish, very playfully, just like they do. And the boys are watching. He suddenly goes down. They think he's dead. They go back and report. Then only all come. He wants people to come and see him dance. That's what he wants an audience. He makes them all come. Then dancing is also there. Mardanam is also there, and the dancing becomes a Mardanam. Mardanam is to subdue. Nardanam is to dance. So both are correct.
Which is the cause and effect? The Mardanam is the cause and then Nardanam.
No, Nardanam is the cause. Mardanam is the effect. It is to subdue.
Yeah.
That is, ego should be subdued, it cannot be killed, it has to be subdued. This is again the Chinese brush and ink. The beauty of this ink, this brush is the thickest part and the thinnest can be worked by a single brush. It is a pressure which is important. So it's a penance doing that. Chinese brush is a penance. These are all experiments, just enjoy. This was when Sachin was in his last test. I was on that. There may be repetitions, please excuse. And I had some shlokas which were the inspiration for this. Vasudeva Sutundeva. Devaki Parama. For all this, I make no pencil sketches and all. It is directly onto the paper. So if it doesn't come, you just tear it and start it. There are times when you don't get it. See, there is a depth. You can see.
Yes.
Other side, it will be flat.
Yes.
So when you vary the squares inside, it gives you a texture.
So you use the white of the paper. How do you have to conceive
Space.
it before?
No, it comes automatically. So I cannot tell that everywhere. When it disturbs the composition, I remove it.
How do you choose your colors? Does it happen?
No, basically, painting is a study of light. So Krishna is dark. That's always I imagine. So it can be dark of any color. So I don't go by or whatever remains in the mixing plate or whatever paint you have. From that I get some colors. I don't consciously I want this color. It's not that. Whatever is available, whatever you can get your hands on, and what is I can do. Not very particular about this color. This is again Kalia, but it is inspired by Nataraja. It's classic. I use in Mithila you have these lines, each line they use different colors because the borders, they use that also as a design element. So I use that.
So there is a bronze near a temple in Trichy where Nataraja actually stands instead of the Muyal, a typical Asura, then he stands on the snake.
Yeah, instead of that Avasman, they were interchanged. Shiva has become Nataraja. one significant aspect in Bhagavatam is Abheda Bhava. You should not have differences. Vedame irukakudadu. You should never divide. This is this, this is that. There is only one. Bhagavan, Shivan, this differences all crop up. And this is the root of all problems. And Bhagavatam says not to differentiate. Abheda Bhavam is very important. This is a line 1. This is based on these African masks. The toys they make in Africa. So inspired by that. So anything which inspires, don't stop. So this is like, you go to some child painting contest, you see so many children draw. So I was inspired by children. So there was a series I drew with big faces and like movements like this, freaky types. The children don't have any conditioned brain. They think very freely. It's very difficult. In fact, because it was difficult to paint like a child, he has tried. The dice he's playing. Keyboards and piano keyboards, mouse. The circle, the main element. By Egyptian, the Pharaoh, Krishna, the leopard. Using the wetness of the paper. Again. This is Krishna as Mandala. Calvin and House, Calvin and Krishna. This is the texturing in oil. So, these are smaller works, say 20 by 30. the chocolate Krishna. Chocolate and milk. So, texturing of milk. This is that Geetamrita. The Udupi Krishna is the inspiration for this. Actually, the size is just around this much. And when it's so blown up with this size, all errors magnify. So that's another point of view. Very small size. The ornamentation, the costumes differ. This is particularly Egyptian. Mostly the Egyptians because I like their kind of ornamentation and simplify. They're very ornamental but simple because it's a straight. And even the arm thing, the decoration is there, but it's very simple. This again Kali Mardana, but it is inspired by Shiva's Gajasamhara Murti. See, it is where he comes out opening that Gajam. It's a brilliant concept. It is inspired by that. Mithila type of ornamentation. The design is like that.
wearing spikes and all that, Krishna.
Yeah.
With spikes, hairstyle, and which is the most modern.
Yeah, I saw it came a little late.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. No, he likes to make himself look like everything. In fact, in Bhagavatam, there is a sequence when these Brahmana Patnis come to see him.
Yes.
You know how he was? He was putting a hand on his friend's shoulder. He kept his makeup with the minerals of the soil, different colors of the soil. He used as a tribal used to make themselves up, dots here, white thing there and all that. He dressed himself up with flowers, ornamala and all that. Put a hand over his friend's shoulder, took a lotus and he was rotating his limbs. Such a grand, everything is described. I mean, there's nothing left to imagination.
Just gorgeous.
See, the kind, anybody will be, the charm will take you away in the world. So, Brahmana Patnis, you can't imagine. The salute here. So, the kaleidoscope. It's a very small work. Very small. This wall, crack left in the wall. So, had it.
It's very nice to be able to see Lord Krishna and anything
You have to tune yourself.
Yes.
It's the it's a bit dark. This darkness of Krishna is also. See, have you ever wondered from space? There are so many suns in the galaxy, but you see only darkness. And there is source for light, but there is no source for darkness. So this light will drive away ignorance. So we associate ignorance with darkness. And Krishna is associated with, because in the galaxy it is only black which remains. There is no other color. There are so many suns, but they cannot completely remove darkness from there. The space is black, and that is
That means inspired us.
in spite of so much. It is, and no, that darkness is what we personified by Krishna. It is that darkness. It is this darkness which shows us the light. And there is another element also. See, a man who is full of sattva guna, Krishna, is dark, which is the color of tamoguna. And Shiva, who is represented by the tamoguna, is white in color. See, this is what is the beauty of our literature.
It's relationship.
It's a complete, I don't know how to put it, it's a beauty.
It's like plus or minus or makes zero. And add both, you get to nothing.
No, there is one, even in Bhagavatam, when Rudra speaks also it is Bhagavan Vacha, when Krishna speaks also it is Bhagavan Vacha. It makes no distinction. When Shiva sings about Krishna, it is Bhagavan Vacha. When Krishna sings about Rudra, it is Bhagavan. So, all this ignorance has to be removed. And don't think that I have come to that position. We are also in the process of I never claim to be beyond others. It is a process which has started. So it is from here because I have taken. And here you can see the veena. Because the entire thing I want to have a musical background to this. So the flute, the veena and the dance and a musical environment. By children's drawings. So this is a paper's texture. So I use that. This is one leaf and all stuck to that. So I use the leaf. Holds the cover above in 2 foot, one on the other side on across. This is a Kovaleva pedal. Actually, this is actually a metaphor we use in cartoons. Like the sweater we use, once you pull out one thread, everything comes in. So it is like that. Just pull the one end, it just actually this Kovaleva pedal is a metaphor for the royalty, Kamsa's fear. He uses this elephant to beat down Krishna. But somehow Krishna was very small. I mean, he has to use his speed. And so it's a different take on that. Chandran there, because Krishna is Chandra Moksha. Chandra is a symbol for the Buddhi in our literature. So he's also likened to the intellect. He's ruled by the intellect. This is a Kung Fu Krishna. This is actually the Kaliya Mardana in a different way. See here, are smaller works, like Peacock, Krishna. This is an Egyptian papyrus. Actually, this came with the paper. This is not my drawing. I used this. This is a small letter pad, and I used this in the same style. All symbols. We also have the symbols like the Panchakodanga, and this is the surrender. This is the dawn. The eyes, the Surya, Chandra. These are drawn in the children's scrapbook. It comes in various colors. Use this scrapbook. Those are used for the children. Those are actually seashells. Those are mixed media, as they call it, charcoal, watercolor, pastel. It is called Conte, brown pastel like thing. It's watercolor. It's charcoal. It's already yeah, there is another series called a New Forever series. In some studies, is referred to as Nitya Nutana, that is always new. That is this New Forever. This is the Udupi Krishna, where you can see the invisible again, the charm. Chidam Keshav Rama, full song. This is Madhuradipati, Madhura Madhuram, that song. Usually this shloka, that is a separate series. There's another concept where we have to be like a newborn child, leaving everything to him.
So in Krishna, muscles
Is the impressions of leaves or you have painted them, sir?
No, leaves are there on paper, so I have used those leaves and worked around them.
So this is a modern Carlson chess game also.
Yeah, this chess is another, not exactly chess, but the black and white of the chess is, the impact of the black and white can be really, in fact in further experiments I've used the alternate colors, side by side, you have alternate colors so that it repeats the pattern of the chess. It's called Manhattan Krishna. I have not posted this. Just helping him cross the street. It starts here actually, this crisscross of patterns and colors. I use the matching colors. It's Mira and gold. This is again the kimono in the Japanese kimono.
Geisha. Geisha.
Geishas, yeah.
It's a costume of dignity.
Yeah, yeah. They have this makeup also. It's a separate art. Not in behavior, so it's a really elaborate symbol. And play of light. It's grand, I like it, so
No, these two wings on either side.
It doesn't have wings, that's not the idea. It looks grand on it, so
Somebody thinks that Ramayana might be in a standing pose.
there's three course on that also.
Yeah.
So they all develop there. I really don't know how these thoughts come. They just come. Actually, you're also wondering how it came about. I have no explanations. It's a very illustrative. usually in one sitting this kind of works. This a bit longer, but done in a series. Listen about 2 or 3 because it has a lot of layers. Long. This is done on a Diwali day, so you can see all the lights and different hands. So all the hands hold some kind of lamps. And here you have a cat instead of a cow. That is because they call the cat Marjara. It will always it will be licking. A3 size. This is also a small A3 size book. This is that earlier version of that Keller's version before I added those things. These are early works. It is the concentration. So I put the lamp over this bed. The horns. It has to be steady.
we have taken 3 hours now, so I think we'll finish. I don't think we can have enough of Krishna with Krishna. Go forever.
I don't know. I have no watch. You tell me when to stop.
If it's okay, then we can close here because.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed.
So any pictures which you want to show, which you don't want us to mix?
No, actually, in that order, that is, if you want to have Bhagavatam also, I have enough. Go on and on.
No, that's why we have a separate lecture on Bhagavatam.
Yeah, so that's why I told you when to stop, when to stop.
Because it's like 3 hours we have placed.
Yeah.
We have also hit our limit in our podcast.
Okay, fine.
The political cartoonist Keshav doesn't inspire anyone. His views are, his comments are incisive and his lines are sharp. And the Krishna conscious painter for excellence, Keshav, is someone who is inward looking. To both of them coexist, to both of them influence each other. That's my question.
Influence in the sense, the practice for drawing is the same. The language is the same. The thing is, in that you are pointing fingers outside. Here you are pointing fingers inside. That is the only difference. The symbolism is the same. Everything is the same. The drawing, there of course you use exaggeration. Here you use exaggeration to the advantage and to say positive things. That is very accusative in nature. And let us say Maya and Bhagavan, they coexist. They are all belong to the whole. So let me say